that you were up all night, thinking about how your world ain't right, and you wonder if things will ever get better. And you're asking, why is it always raining on you, when all you want is just a little good news, instead of standing there stuck out in the weather. Oh, don't hang your head, it's gonna end, God's right there. Even if it's hard to see him, I promise you that he still cares. When the waves are taking you under, hold on just a little bit longer. He knows that this is gonna make you stronger, stronger. The pain ain't gonna last forever, and things can only get better. Believe me, this is gonna make you stronger, gonna make you stronger, stronger, stronger. Believe me, this is gonna make you try and do the...
Good afternoon, Tampa Bay. This is VJ Briggs. I'm the producer as well as the host here today. And with me, our guest today is my eldest daughter, Janae Lizelle Armstrong. Good afternoon, Janae.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Tampa.
And she's here today. As you know, a couple of shows back, I did a show which was called Intervention. And on that day, I had to actually persuade her and get her into a program. Well, needless to say, you can see that she's no longer inside of a program, but she's here with us here today. One of the things that have happened throughout the different tapings, as you notice, there has been mentions of some drug use, mostly relating to their father. Well, today, she's here, and we're going to take just a few minutes to discuss that and how she feels that all came about. Just a few minutes, Janae, how do you feel that you got really initially involved in drugs, and at the age of 44, you are off the wagon, you were clean for like 5 or 6 years, and you had a daughter, and now you're recovering again. What does that feel like?
It feels kind of crummy, actually, because I was doing really well, and then I got some really, I was exposed. There was a secret that I had held on to about my daughter's father, and it said that if you hold secrets, they're going to come out. You know, anything that you keep hidden is bound to come out, and that's exactly what happened. A DNA test was taken, and it was found out that my daughter's father, who I thought was the father, was not the father, and it really devastated me. Now, that's not an excuse. That's just what happened, and that's what led to me using again. Actually, I'm adjusting to just understanding from day to day that using is not the answer. That what I have to do is I have to see the day and see my place in it and own all of it. I have to own everything in that day. And sometimes it doesn't feel so good. Sometimes it doesn't feel so good. That's the only thing I could say. But today I'm clean, and I'm happy to be clean today. And I look forward to spending time with my daughter. And I don't know, it's kind of a hard question.
Okay, babe, so today you're feeling good. Now, you felt good before, and I'm your mom, and needless to say, I've been blessed in many ways not to have seen you go through what I saw you go through this time. Your addiction had been, you were a very interesting addict. I had very visible addicts in your father and your brother. I could tell when they were high, other things would be the same. But you were clean for so long, or at least I thought you were clean for so long, and you were always, I felt like I enabled you, because from the time your grandma died, you came at a great time. You were very independent. What many people in our family don't realize is that you were glad to get away from me for many reasons. I'm sure one of them being that way you could do what you were doing and I wouldn't know. Right. But on the other reason, you wanted to feel self-sufficient. and you wanted to feel that I can take care of myself. And for a while you did that. And I was very proud of that. But then your grandma came. And so I needed help, so you came back to stay with me. And I always felt that that was not a good time. That was not a good turn for you. Even though you did a good deed, it wasn't good for you, because then you got in a stuck place with me. You were back in my house, and she's been gone now for 9, going to 10 years, and you're still in my house. And one of the things that happened with this intervention was that I said to you, and I meant it, was that you could not come back. And I said that, as they called me and they said, what did that do to you when you heard your mother say, listen, you can't come back?
Well, I was ready for that. I was ready for that. I knew that that was a strong possibility. And honestly, I was disappointed, but I was also excited, because I said, now I'm free. Now I can, and I know this sounds crazy, but I'd rather give up my daughter, and don't get me wrong, not just to anyone, but I'd rather give up my daughter rather to see her or have her go through what I've seen a lot of mothers and children go through in active addiction. I'd rather give her up altogether. So the first thing I thought was, you know what, maybe that'd be the best thing. You know, I didn't cry, I didn't go tell them I want to commit suicide. I didn't do any of that. I got real still. And I suffer with mental illness, with depression, and severe bipolar tendencies. So that was probably for me a huge stepping stone, you know, because I was like, okay, all right, now what if this happens? What's the first thing I need to do? Immediately I start thinking about what I'd have to do with that, what I need to do in this situation. And I don't think I was capable of doing that. So that was very interesting.
When you said not capable of doing that, what exactly do you mean?
I didn't think I was capable of being self-sufficient again, handling things on my own, paying my bills again, you know, not worrying about, because mom's taking care of it. That's what I meant by that.
Okay, so at that time, did you consider Jordan and Jordan's feelings
Oh,
about
absolutely.
being separated from her
I
mom?
considered her, but then again, I blocked her out because that was too much. You understand? My first thought was, what would be in her best interest? Because now I'm starting to see her act out a little bit. I'm starting to see her, she's starting to show, you know, some signs of miscare, of how I didn't exactly.
Give me some examples.
Well, she snatches away, she talks back. I'll say, Jordan, come here, and she'll go, what? And we know that that's not an appropriate response. You know, it's yes, ma'am, I'll be there, or something like that, not what.
Now, a lot of things happen to you in your life. And when you look at Jordan, and you see Jordan, do you see some of you? Because you weren't like that. You internalized. At least I saw you internalizing. Was that the case when you were young? You would internalize your feelings. You could be very still. You would just...
Jordan looks like me, but she's not me at all. She's totally... And I depend on the fact that she's going to be totally different, because she's fearless. She's not afraid of... She's not afraid. Sometimes I think she puts on...
You were saying before that, you were saying Jordan's nothing like you, that she's fearless. But I notice also that as in any child, and I'm learning, because I didn't really watch you guys as much as I now watch my grandkids. I didn't when you guys were coming up and so much stuff was going on. But I noticed that she covers up. She don't have a problem telling a story. And then she also demands a lot of attention, even if it's negative. Whether it's at home or at school, she'll create a situation at church where she gets attention. How do you see, you had mentioned to me that you were going to take parenting classes and things like that. So it sounds like to me that you have decided to show up not just for your life, but Jordan's life.
Yes.
And be an active participant. What is different now, Janae, about right now than it was? I think Jordan was like a year old and I just flew at you. I thought you were using again, and I was so mad I wanted to just put your head through a wall in my house. Do you remember that incident?
Yes, I do remember
What's
that.
different now than then that's going to
Because
keep you on track?
Little do you know, or anybody else, I was terrified, and I was ready to have an abortion with Jordan, but I didn't. I kept her. And the difference between now and then, I was walking around aimlessly with this beautiful little creature. That's what she was to me. She's this beautiful little thing, and I had the first thing, I didn't know what I was going to do with her. And I just pretended like I knew, but some people could see I didn't know what I was doing. And instead of embracing and saying, you know what, being honest and saying, look, help me. I need help with this. I didn't. I covered it up because I was ashamed, because I felt like I should know. But today, I understand that I don't know things, and it's not too late. So I have armed myself with information. I have armed myself with classes which start next week, and I'm getting prepared to walk through this thing, not by myself, with God by my side, in front of me, actually. I trusted and asked him to give me the strength to not be afraid to say, I don't know how. I don't know how to do this. I know there's people out there, so could somebody please assist me with that?
And I know there's no quick fix to this. And I'm glad you brought God into it, because the one thing that you used to do that I noticed you stopped doing, and I knew something was happening, was you stopped going to church. You stopped interacting with people at church. You had even gone to see the bishop of our church, and he says, hey, call me every day. You told him that, I don't know how much you told him. I wasn't in that meeting, but whatever it was, and you just didn't. And because you are aware this 12-step program that you're in is that you first have to acknowledge to a God greater than yourself. Now, of course, we believe in Jesus Christ, and I don't believe there's any other God other than him, and that I'm out of control and I can't handle this. But the thing that happens with the 12 steps, you got to keep him in it. Every one of those steps, he's got to be in it. He's got to be, I think anybody who had an addiction, I have a food addiction. You got to pray literally minimum 3 times a day. Nobody tells you that. And God is sitting back saying, why don't you want to? What's the process? And what I'm saying to you is, how do you, because he hasn't left you. We condemn ourselves, correct?
Yes.
That's what kills you. You condemn yourself.
That's the killer. That's it right there. First thing I mentioned before was I felt like I was supposed to know it. I was supposed to know how to, make a life for me and my daughter. I was supposed to know how important that was. I was supposed to, to let people know that I was afraid, that I was ashamed, that there was a possibility that there were some things that I didn't know. There was a lot of shame involved. Mm-hmm. There was there was so many different emotions involved. And when you take God out and you're dealing with mental illness, all you got is your disease. Just like if I don't deal with that on a daily basis, this is the first time in my life that I've acknowledged that there's a problem and people got involved. Because before this, I didn't even acknowledge there was a problem. You didn't even know it. I didn't know what was going on with me.
How far back does your problem go? Can you pinpoint a time when you knew you had a problem?
Which one? Because I'm dual diagnosed now.
Well, your drug problem, your problem with cocaine, your problem with drugs, period.
When I was 13, that's when I started smoking marijuana, Gateway, and drinking, getting drunk,
What's
passing
Gateway?
out. Gateway drugs, marijuana, cigarettes, alcohol. That's Gateway. You're just out the gate. You're not, and you didn't walk into the big party.
Oh, okay, because you
no offense to anybody, but
you said even in our tapings, and we're having problems transferring those tapes, and if we can, we'll be showing some clips of them. But you said in that taping, it's hilarious, but we're all laughing. You said your first drug of choice was sugar.
Yes, absolutely. Tell us
a little bit about that.
Well, I loved candy. Even to this day, I love candy, the taste of it, the way it makes you feel. And when I was little, I would steal it if I didn't have money. And it's the strangest thing. it's like the first time that you really think that you can't do without something, you know? And I remember thinking, like I just said, I would steal it if I couldn't get the money for it, because you wanted it so bad. You wanted to feel that feeling,
Right.
that you felt you felt bad. You were in control. You had some sugar, some now laters, and some kids wanted it, and it was a good thing. It was a good feeling. But then you transfer that, and then you start getting cigarettes, and it takes you to another place, and then they don't work anymore, and those cigarettes turn into a bottle of vodka. Then the vodka turns into
a bottle of, why vodka?
I don't know.
And when vodka?
It was because we used to hang out with the seniors. I remember being in the 8th, 7th grade, watching my cousin and her friend. I was the lookout, and I'd watch them while they got high. I would be the lookout. That was before any of that. I was still doing candy at that point. And I don't know. I never thought it would be me doing it. And then I started hanging out with older kids. I just wanted to fit in. I just wanted to fit in.
And isn't that normally, you know, as your mom, and during that time period, I would just, you know, you guys, I'm a Sugar Jones. That's my thing. You know, I'm a Sugar Jones. But when you have children, I had no bridge. I had no point of reference to say, okay, something's going on here. You know, now people do. They don't give their kids sugar. I think they've gotten hip to it, that sugar is a means to getting high.
It's escape.
It's a slam. You want to get high at work, you want to wake up, you'll start saying, I need some chocolate. Anybody got any chocolate? And then you'll eat the chocolate, bam. And then and then you're like, I need some more chocolate.
Yeah.
And so, and some people I need a cigarette. And so what I say to you is during that time period, because you're the eldest in a house that was very dysfunctional, and there was drugs. You had aunts, uncles. It was the age of the hippies. It was the age of Haight-Ashbury. You were in San Francisco. And we're going to take a brief station break, and we'll be right back with Conversations.
My name's Brandon. I'm 9 years old, being alcoholic.
Hi, Brandon.
I'll start drinking with the older kids. And whatever they do, I'll do.
Kids who drink before age 15 are 5 times more likely to have alcohol problems when they're adults. So start talking before they start drinking.
I know I'll start with alcohol. I'm just not sure how it's gonna end.
Thank you. This is VJ Briggs once more with Conversations with My Daughters. And we're back with Janae Armstrong. And Janae, we were talking about growing up on the drug addiction and how it relates to you now. There were a lot of problems in the house, and being the oldest child in the house, you were left to observe a lot of things. You, from the time you were very, very young, there were a lot of things that happened to you. When did drugs become your friend, though? When did you know that you were medicating your emotions? And when did you know, like, I know at the age of, I believe you were 4, you were molested. Your hair was cut off, you were frightened, and it was a family member, 2 family members. And then when I came home, I saw I came back to the apartment where we were staying, I saw your bangs had been cut off. I assumed you did it. And I think I even spanked you for cutting your hair because you couldn't even speak. You couldn't even tell me, I'm saying. And they kept saying, the people who had molested you kept saying to me, she cut her hair, we don't know why she did that. And you did not defend yourself. Was it to that point when some part of you left?
Yeah. That's kind of hard to talk about, but
Well, you don't have to, but
No, I don't mind because, you know, I don't want to keep any secrets anymore. I don't, because it's not good for me. It's not. I think I left before that. I just took off, and I don't really, and now I'm just starting to know who I am. And I guess that's the part that makes me really sad because, and also really happy because I'm not dead yet. And I still get a chance to figure out who Janae is, and, you know, and I get to see her grow. I get to see her come out, and I haven't met her yet.
But that was 40 years,
Yeah.
at least. And
Yeah.
then after that, I think you were younger, actually. Before that, there was another family member who molested you. You were about 2 then, maybe even younger. I don't know
That's
if
why
you
I
remember
said,
it.
no, that's why I said it was before that I took off. That I never felt safe again. I didn't trust you. I didn't trust any grown-up. I didn't trust people, period. And I think that might have been where my mental illness issues
The
settled in.
separation started.
You know, everything just kind of settled in, and I just left.
But what did you feel about, and we're going to visit this briefly once more, we do have a tape and we'll try to introduce that. Like I said, we are having some technical difficulties getting those tapes brought in. What did you feel then? You were 2, then you were about 4, then it happened again, I'd say with your stepdad, and you was about, what?
Oh God!
12?
When you let's see, it was 12 because he started coming in and watching me in the shower. I didn't know he was doing it. He'd just look up and he would be watching me in the shower, and then the physical stuff started happening. I've never trusted grown-ups.
So you were like targeted. It seemed like there was something in you and your and kids are never at fault. Of course, there were young people who did it early on. The first person, I don't know, I guess he was about 18, but then the next couple, they were like in their teens, and then the next one was a grown man, and so here you are. You're being introduced to touching, feeling, all of this stuff, which was very inappropriate. Yeah. You're just at 12 now. At 2 and 4, you didn't know anything about drugs. You had the candy thing going on, and not even heavy because you couldn't get to the store to get candy. So you're left to fiend. There's your mom who's going through her stuff, but not protecting you. So at that point, were you feeling anger, rage? What were you feeling at your mother? Because there were 2 adults in the house.
I didn't trust you, and I didn't see us having a mother-daughter relationship. You were kind of a dictator, and you were mean, and you were often flip out, and I never knew how you were going to be, but I still loved you. But I didn't feel that. You remember a few weeks back I said, you know, not even a few weeks, we were having a conversation. I said, you know, when do we get to have this conversation when you come to me and say, you're beautiful, and this is all going to go away. You don't have to worry about it, you know, because I love you, and everything's going to be fine. And that's so important because you did that, but there was a whole bunch of other stuff that happened before those conversations. So it was hard for me to believe you. You understand? It would be hard for any kid to believe that. You didn't protect me. And then you blamed me. After they retaliated, you blamed me. You know, and you didn't believe me. You know, so I turned on myself. Drug abuse is just that, abuse of oneself. And I turned it on myself. And I think that's what caused the depression to set in. That's what caused, it already had started when I was very young. But it became an issue when I started taking pills and when I was little, well, not little, younger. We were on a trip to You know I was trying to kill myself. We're on a trip to Detroit, and Ami kept pinching me. She will never forget it. She thought I was dead. And actually, I took a whole bottle of Tylenol PM. Took the whole bottle. And I was trying to kill myself. And I figured I'd be dead before we got, but I want you to find me in the car. So, I've done some really mean things to Janae.
Yes.
Really mean things to Janae. And the reason why is because I was upset.
You were upset with Janae, though. You still hadn't figured out a way to be upset at the forces. Number one, your mother who wasn't protecting you. And then all of these other people that are coming at you, you hadn't figured that out, that somehow it was your fault. And the best way to stop all this is kill yourself. So remove myself from the equation, everything stops.
Yeah. You're asking me a question? Yes, if I just go away, then I wouldn't have to worry about people touching me. I wouldn't have to worry about not trusting her. I'll be gone. And I wouldn't have to worry about it anymore. And they wouldn't have to worry about me.
Okay, what made that change?
What made it change? Well, I woke up and I wasn't dead. I woke up, you know, my sister woke me up and she's like, she said, I was just about to tell Mom, and I just came to. And that's when I came back, I started with the drinking and the marijuana, you know, and the cigarettes were first, and then the drinking and the marijuana, and the hallucinogens.
My question is, you never showed any rage against me. You never, well, you did with the credit cards, but I thought that was just a teenager thing. That you would
I would do little things. I would do stuff. Oh God.
Because it would be 20 years before you even. Now, the reason I knew about the first abuse or thought about it is that I came in the bathroom and it just felt funny. You were my baby. I was 16. I was going on 18 at that time because you was going on 2. And this particular male person who I cared for a great deal in my natural family, something wasn't right in that bathroom. I just remember picking you up and taking you out the bathroom. Never confronted him about anything because I didn't really see anything. It was more of a mother's intuition that something wasn't right. And he was adjusting his clothes, and I remember that, and I'm like, and he just started talking really fast. And so I immediately took you out. I never said anything to Mom or anyone about it. The second time, it would be years before I figured out that the nutcases in that house had cut your hair, and then I had abused you. Then I went on to take pills myself, be putting all of this in front of this child and her little sister. And I'm gone, and you're left with these really demented people. And later on, I thought about that. I said, she went through all that. I don't know where we went that weekend, but to come back and then your mother beat you. Your mother beat you for cutting your hair because you had long hair and you had these bangs. And the people that had done the abuse were harping it on, and it would be years later that you would tell me, over 20 years, that you would tell me that this happened, and then the whole thing with it's dealing with this stuff. It's dealing with it, and even today, as you taped it and you got through all of this stuff in the taping 5 years ago, but the reason I bring it back today, because when I had to do that intervention, I said, this child is trying to kill herself again, and I'm not having it, not on my watch. And I said, what can I do? You know, I knew about the first tapes, I knew about your stepdad, I knew about all this stuff, and I'm saying, okay, now, and I knew about Jordan's dad. And I didn't know, though, he wasn't the dad. For 10 years, I didn't know. And then I tried to put, by prayer and guidance of the sister in the church, the head of the church who talked to me, she said, you know what, whatever the situation is, you got to pray. Because I couldn't tell her, because I assumed you told her, because I never told her. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, why would she want to kill herself? You know, we're not women like that. But by this time, you have gone, number one, I think many times you've revisited the abuse by your stepfather. You keep, but like I was saying to you, he's paid, he's dead, he's gone. And there's nothing you can do, and that's what this whole show is about. Somewhere you got to start talking about it. You're back. You've had a child. What I saw in that room and what I went online and read about, I said, my kid is on drugs for a leg. She can't get a job. She done relapse, and now she's doing another type of drug plus pills, and she got this little girl.
Yeah.
And I became very angry. And I said, you know what? She got to go. I said, she either got to get help, she got to get living, or she got to get dying. I said, but it's got to be on her own. And I'm not borrowing. I'm understanding what those statements mean now. That's what you got to be about. And you, when we're back to when we started this, because I want to move on from this, we resolved something because you stayed in the house, and just recently you came to me and you shared with me your sadness. And I said, okay, the door is cracking open. She trusts me again because she's telling me so that she doesn't get high. She's telling me so that she doesn't, she trusts that some part of me loves her, and that maybe she sees that she stayed here with me, and I've helped her, and maybe she just needs her mother to know that I'm sad, and I'm sad, this is why I'm sad, and I'm not just being in my room for any reason, but I'm sad. And I'm saying, what do I do with this? And that gave me great joy, because I said, okay, I have my daughter back. I said, she's my first love of a child, and I have her back. And I said, because everyone had told me, I've been getting really bad reports since you came back. And it was like, why is she there? And she shouldn't be there. She should be in a program. You can't help her. And I'm saying, no, she's doing, that's why I'd ask you every day, are you following, are you doing what you're supposed to do? And you say, yes, I am. And you were like, you were about 7, and you were giving me a progress report. And I kept thinking about, she said she's sad because of this, and she opened up about this, and she was sad about that. And I said, okay, so when I know she's in the room, and I know that her daughter's getting on her nerves, and I know, how do I fit in this without snatching her right to make decisions away? And that's where we are today. And I said, first,
Okay.
and we're going to take a brief station break, and we'll be right back with conversations.
Every year, mothers lose their babies to gun crimes. You'll always be your mother's baby. So before you commit a gun crime, think about who you'll leave behind. Gun crimes hit home.
Welcome back. This is BJ Briggs with Conversations with My Daughters, and I'm here today with Janae Armstrong. And as you've been following our program today, we are talking about what led up to the intervention. Now, Janae, what we were saying was that we have reached the point in our relationship where you felt you could come to me and said, this is what makes me sad. Whereas when you were 2, whereas when you were 4, whereas when you were 12, where instead of coming to me, who you didn't trust, you went to drugs, alcohol, whatever that can medicate you, and you stayed there for over 30 years. And today you're feeling glad and happy. It's still, you're not medicated now, so you're still feeling the pain. Your kneecaps need to be replaced. Jordan's situation is workable. You've figured out a way to have her have sessions with you. In other words, you're showing up
Yeah.
for your life. And tell me about that. Tell our audience about that, because there are people out there today who are
Well,
going through
it
this.
takes some courage to do that, and only God could give you that. And you have to, of course, see the need, that it's very important to see that I need this, you know, in order for me to go on. I can't go back the way that I came. I'm going to have to go forward. So I started seeking out information and parenting classes. I'm going to be able to take parenting classes. I'm going to be able to be involved with groups of women that are in my same situation, coping skills. I'm going to learn about coping. It's just very, I'm just anxious to just get started, because I hate being dysfunctional. I really do. I hate such a strong word, but that's how I feel about it. I just really, really want to see some progress happen, you know. And my daughter, you know, she'll get to talk to somebody, because I don't want her to be like me, no, that she doesn't trust me. And I feel like she doesn't. I feel like she doesn't think I'm going to be there for her. And I don't want her to feel that way. So what I'm trying to do is, you know, give her an avenue where she can talk about it, she can discuss it, and then as time goes on, I can come into her space.
Yes.
And I can talk with her and the counselor or whatever, and talk about really how she feels and how I can be better for her. So I'm feeling really good about, you know, the choices I'm making right now.
And how does God fit into this, Janae? Because you live in a house with someone who has a house, who has the means to get a job. She's retired now, but you look at a woman who can get a job, who can seem to manage in the world, but walks around sometimes and whiny and I wonder how you feel as my daughter, my eldest daughter, I had her when I was 16, and how do you feel when you look back on your life? And this isn't, I'm trying to be honest here because it worries me. There was one day I said, none of my kids, I was sitting in my room and I was feeling very low, and I was saying, they don't really like me, they don't have a reason to. I said, why should they? They have been put through, your brother's facing cancer and HIV. Your one sister's having her problems with her, you know, but just growing in her marriage and her children, not happy. Each of them, I can say, not happy. The other one is getting into a marriage. She's not quite sure, but she's afraid. And I'm wondering, as the oldest of all these kids, and you, not only this woman decided, hey, you can't come back to my house, I'm going to give you a time period to get up out of here, but you didn't give me the tools I needed to get here. How do you feel about that, honestly, on your best day? No, on your worst day, how do you feel?
On my worst day, I feel like you should just get off my back. I mean, it's bad enough. I have to deal with myself. It's bad enough. And you asked me to come back here, and it's part of, now this is my worst day. You're responsible for this, because I should have just stayed away, you know, but you asked me to come back here. Now I'm stuck here with all these issues, and it makes me, by the time I list everything that I think is wrong, I laugh. I can't help it, because it's ridiculous. It's not your problem, it's mine. I'm a grown-up. I'm not 2, I'm not 4. You know, I have to start doing things as if you weren't around. As if, you know, that you
So there's no animosity, there's no anger, even on your worst day?
Yeah, I did. I mentioned that in the beginning of the statement. I said, you're responsible. This is your fault. It's because of you. You weren't there for me, you know? And you keep on putting me in these positions, and just like when I was 4, you come back and you beat me for something somebody else did, you know? And so now here you come talking about, get out of here. I don't want you here anymore. You know, it's the same type of thing, but I have to flip it and say, you know what? I'm responsible for me. You know, this is the next day or maybe a few hours later after I've had a nap or something. I don't know. But honestly, I can't like hold animosity. As God comes in again, because he's saying, look, you need to pray. You need to talk to me, because you can't do nothing with none of this.
If you could go back, and thank you for that, because you said you forgave me 5 years ago, and you told me to put down the beating stick. And,
The bat, put
and
it
in the
down.
house, you're always the one who encourages me, and you tell me, you know, Mom, even down to dating, you'll say, Mom, I want to see you with somebody. And I'm like, how could you feel that way when I allowed all of these things to happen? And you'll tell me about my work now. You are my biggest champion. You've been with me the longest. And sometimes I see that little girl, and I see the little girl that used to try to pull me around and try to make me feel happy, and she didn't know what she was up against. I was a 16-year-old who was furious with the world and didn't have your dad, and he'd gone off, and my mom could be loving one minute and this tyrant, this really mean person the next, and then there's this little kid, and she's trying to get my attention, but she was really just trying to make me feel better. I see her when she tells me, Mom, do your book, or Mom, I really want to work on this, and I've learned not to trust me and you kids. I've learned that. Yeah. I've learned to look for it. I've learned to look for your father in it. I've learned to look and say, you know, you can't trust them because you can't trust you. And that's where God comes in my life. God says through you many times, or sometimes to your sister, why don't, like yesterday I was just going off, if you remember, I was just saying everything was wrong, everything. And then it flipped in the car. You just got still and let me, until the Holy Spirit moved in me and said, but what about, you should just be thankful. You can do this and you can do this. And even today, I said, okay, I don't even have a show. I'm tired of this. They're supposed to come on. We're supposed to have fun. And I heard the Lord through my sister, and she said, you are too timid with people that basically you've shown love to. Yeah, you did a lot of stuff wrong, but she said you did a lot of stuff right too. They're still standing. And so I don't excuse my behavior. Like I told you guys years ago, I am so sorry that all that stuff happened to you guys. If I had known better, you know, if I had known how to have children and take care of children, and if I had known that you have to raise these little people and that you don't just leave them, and I'm not talking about leaving them in a house, I'm talking about leaving them and you're right there in the room with them, I would depart. Pain, I would just depart. I'm doing it now. I know how to do it now. It's flipped on me. And last time I was asking God, I said, remove me from here. I said, because I want to live my life. I want to show up for my life. I don't want to perpetrate a fraud. And you say that, and from the time you was about 16, you were that stand-up type person. You would say, you know, just tell people what you think. Sometimes and I learned so much from that, but I didn't have that backbone. So I look at Jordan and you. Jordan is the type that will get in your face. You're going to recognize me. No, I'm not, I don't look like Emmy, but I'm Jordan, and I'm worth your attention. That's what I see in her. And so even now as I sit here and I know, and we had to rehash this, and I'm sorry, I wasn't fooling you. Actually, I meant to go a different way, but this is the way God wanted it. Because there's somebody out there, yeah, we can chuckle and laugh here on stage, but there's somebody out there who hasn't spoke to their mother in 30 years. Yeah. And the mother don't know why. She still go over there, she give them money, she even may be paying for their car, but every time that person get mad, she just go off on that woman. Or that guy just go off on her. And she don't even know why they're mad. And this show, Conversations, is designed to do that. What generation by generation causes this pain? We're not Oprah. We don't have all that. But we do have, most of us have access. Most of us don't have health insurance, so how can we go to a therapist? But we can talk to each other, and we can pray. And we can, by the grace of God, be honest. And somebody has to have enough Holy Ghost to say, okay, bring it on. And that's all I'm saying on this show. That's why I brought you on. I wasn't hijacking you or anything. But it was important that people learn that we live in the same house, that you're back in my house. And yes, every day you have to report to me like you're a kid, but you're back in my house. You came to me and said, Mom, I'm sad. That's a big jump. That's a big jump in our lives. And I want other women to have that. I want other women, other daughters, other sisters to look at each other and say, yeah, I'm mad as hell at you. And this is why. And if we can't do that, then we fail as a people, we fail as a country, and we definitely fail as a family. So unless people can start doing what we're doing, yes, cry, yes, feel bad, but on the other side, there's light. Right. I got rid of this heavy load. Today I got rid of my heavy load. And it's like, you know, you don't have to carry that. Then you have hope for tomorrow. Then you can look to Christ. And you can say, you know, Lord, I see an apartment, a house for me and my kid. I see myself sober. I see myself shopping with me and my daughter. I see light. I see colors again. Everything's not dark and full of the evil of this day. I don't have to live in that. And that's what this show is about. I didn't mean to go off on a tirade about that. But we have lived very painful lives in this family. And like you said, I didn't live this and go through this for nothing. Your brother just said the same words to me. He's still struggling, but he said, Mom, I cannot believe that I was put through this for nothing. He still gets mad at me though, you know, but we're working, like he said, he'll call and say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but my thing is, we're working through this. So let's keep working through this, and let's keep talking to one another. And for whatever time you have in my house, in my life, these things are now a part of the concrete that we walk on. They didn't kill you, so it made us both stronger. And when you face your demon with Christ by your side, when you turn around and you face him, he said, resist evil, it will flee. Then you can resist that next time that pipe or something start talking to you. You can say, you know, no. I'm not doing that. In the name of God, name of Jesus, I'm not doing that today. Not this minute, because it's a minute by minute process. And we're going to take a station break here in about 30 seconds from Conversations, and we'll continue, but we're going to talk about the future and where we go from here. And by the grace of God, you know, just having this chance in this forum, I'm hoping that we will get some people to write to me at vjbriggs@yahoo.com. That's V like Victory, J like John, Briggs. Station break. We'll be right back.
How you doing? I just want regular, no sugar today.
You got it.
Thanks. Hello.
Hi.
Did you eat that whole thing today?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Hi, how you doing?
She's getting big, huh?
Big. Yeah, she is big. Great haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks cute. Well, let's go. Nice to see you. Thanks a lot.
If only child abuse were this easy to recognize. If you even suspect abuse, call 1-800-4-A-CHILD. All calls are anonymous and confidential. Trust your instincts.
Welcome back to Conversations with my daughters, and my guest today is my eldest daughter, Janae Armstrong, and we have been talking to Janae about a very, very painful period of her life, the thing that molded her life. And we want to talk now about the future. Janae, where do you see yourself going?
a better mother for my daughter. I just want to be better for her. We had a night where we just, I just let her do whatever it is she wanted to do. And we watched her shows, and she said, I know, she said to me, she said, I knew you would be into this. And I thought that was the coolest thing. It's like, where did she come up with this stuff? And it was kind of scary, because where did she come up with that? And I didn't know about it. She's like, I knew you would be into this. She's on the computer now, and I have to be careful and watch, because she can read. She does know what things mean, so you know what I'm saying. I have to watch her.
Oh, I have to stop you there, because this is the same little girl who told me yesterday. She said, Ma, she said, you know that book, Dick and Jane? I'm not talking about a boys. I said, what? And I said, you mean, she said, with the baby, the little baby Sally. I said, yes. I said, what did you mean by saying that? I said, I read that book when I was in high school. This is the same little girl we're talking about.
Yeah, the same one.
And she told me, I said, well, you know, you got, I said, well, it's called Dick and Jane and Sally. And I said, she said, yeah, Ma, get real with me, because I got to go to, my mommy didn't tell me I got to go to school. But this is Jordan.
That is the girl I'm talking about. That is the chick that I'm dealing with. And I'm so blessed to have her, and I'm so glad that I didn't abort her, because she lights my life up. I mean, even in the morning, it's just, I just see myself, yeah, we go through it because we live with you, and I know you can hear, you know when we're up, because you can hear it. But we always kiss goodbye, and there's always a light moment. It's not always so heavy. And I'm just so glad that I get to watch her, that one day she'll get married, or one day maybe she won't get married, but she'll be happy, and she'll be well adjusted, and she'll know exactly who Jordan Lyric is, you know, and exactly what her place is, and be in it at all times.
And she is she's learning a lot about herself. So your future, what you're saying, is wrapped up in your daughter.
Yeah.
And I have to say that Jordan has created a reality of her own. But moving on, as far as projects in your life, what do you plan to do as far as working? What are you moving towards? Where have you got that far?
Going back to school, I really, but the first thing I'm going to have to endure some serious surgeries on my knees.
Okay.
And I got to get through that first. Once I get through that, then I can go on. I got to do one thing at a time. Let's just put it like that. Stay clean one day at a time, and do one day at a time.
If you could go back and advise Janae,
little
Janae, what would you tell her?
I would tell her to don't be mad at her mom, because she didn't know. It's that she didn't know. I would just tell her don't be mad at her mom.
What would you advise her about herself?
It's going to be weird. Things are going to get real weird, and then they're going to get weirder than that. No.
And I want our audience today to know that we're huggy, touchy type people, and my daughter's sitting here crying. I would gladly reach over and grab her hand and things, except there's technical things here. I'm doing everything not to do that. And because I want you to get the full benefit of this program today. And I think that advice to little Janae was pretty much what I would say to little Valina, is don't be mad. Your mom did the best she could. And also, life is an adventure. Enjoy it.
Enjoy your life.
Every step of it.
Yes.
And learn and learn and learn. And read and write and travel and laugh. Laugh a lot, Valina. Laugh a lot. Because life is just, it is a bowl of cherries, somebody once said. And Forrest Gump said it's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And when I look at my daughter here, and her advice is to trust her mom, because that's your first human touch. And if you can't trust that person, then the rest of your life is going to be pretty messed up.
Yeah.
Because who else comes any closer other than God himself, you know, and trust God. Trust God and pray a lot. Truly, I have enjoyed doing this show. We have 2 more shows to tape. Next week, we will have, with us, we will have my granddaughters. We will have Logan. We will have Emerald, and we will have Jordan. And we're going to spend a close of the year with them. And they will talk about how it is to live with these women. I wish Tyler was here, but she's not. She won't get here until June 20th, because I love to have all my granddaughters here, just to say how it is, that next generation. And these are very precocious children, so pray along with me that we can get them into the studios. We'll have all 3 or 1 or 2, however many we can get, because some are leaving for Detroit. But we will try to get as many in we can to tape. And just because I want you, Tampa, to understand that Conversations with My Daughters is about you. And so to wrap up our show today, to just talk about, we revisited intervention, how I got there with my oldest daughter. We hit some deep places, some dark places. We talked about and laughed about her daughter today. And today, once more, as I close all of my shows, to God be the glory. And do you know who he is? Because it is this Christ, this Jesus that brought us here, that gave us both the strength. And that the best thing I feel that I gave to my children, which was given to me by my husband, was an open invitation, an introduction to Jesus Christ. And he took it from there. So in all and everything we do and everything you do, if your God don't work, try mine. You know, try hers. He works. And he'll bring you here. He'll bring you to a couch somewhere. He'll bring you to a phone where either of you will be calling each other. And I'm talking to mothers and daughters. I'm even talking to fathers and sons, that you'll talk to each other. We truly thank you for being an active participant and watching this show and being a part of this show over the last, I think this is our 10th show, and we hope to bring it back in the fall, if not at this level, at a national level. Just look for it, you'll recognize the format. And once more, I'm VJ Briggs, this is Janae Armstrong, and we are today the active participants of Conversations with My Daughters here in Tampa, Florida. We hope you've enjoyed the show.
Heard you were up all night, thinking about how your world ain't right, and you wonder if things will ever get better. And you're asking, why is it always raining on you, when all you want is just a little good news, instead of standing there stuck out in the weather? Oh, don't hang your head, it's gonna end. God's right there. Even if it's hard to see him, I promise you that he still cares. When the waves are taking you under, hold on just a little bit longer. He knows that this is gonna make you stronger, stronger. The pain ain't gonna last forever, and things can only get better. Believe me, this is gonna make you stronger, gonna make you stronger. Stronger, stronger. Believe me, this is gonna make you try and do the best you can. Hold on and let him hold your hand. Go on, fall into the arms.